Pastor Pahimas, would you like to come forward, please? If you'd all please stand and join us.
Before you guys, and I'm going to kind of just speak something and pray into it here. I was just asking where to go here with this, and there's this part in Exodus 33 that says, Moses said to the Lord, "You have been telling me, lead these people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. You have said, I know you by name, and you have found favor with me." And then Moses says this, "If you are pleased with me, teach me your ways, that I may know you and may continue to find favor with you. Remember that this nation is your people." And the Lord replies, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." Lord, I thank you for this opportunity we have to gather together today to make some decisions for Douglas County. And I pray for your presence, Lord, to be in this place. Lord, as our commissioners make important decisions, Lord, I thank you that you would lead them, that you would guide them, that you would walk with them. And Father, I thank you that your grace would be upon them. And I'm just going to pray this anointing over you. It's in Numbers 6. And it's a priestly anointing, and it's a powerful anointing. It's the very thing that Moses told the priest Aaron to pray over the Israelites. And so for our Douglas County commissioners and for the Douglas County, for all of staff and for those in Douglas County, we say this: may the Lord bless you and may the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and may he give you shalom peace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Douglas County Board of County Commissioners business meeting. Today is Tuesday, August 24th, 2021. It is now 1:34 in the afternoon. Would you all please stand and join us with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Commissioner Layden is on the dais with me. Commissioner Teal is online. Would you like to say hello, Commissioner Teal?
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Steamboat Springs and the Colorado Water Congress.
Thank you. Mr. Ingalls, do we have a certification for everything on today's agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair. My office has reviewed all items on today's agenda, and they all meet legal approval.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have any disclosures for any items on today's agenda?
I have none.
No, ma'am.
And I have none either. We'll move on to item number 2, citizen comment. Are there any citizens in the room who would like to address the board on any topic? Either we'll do it on the consent agenda or in general. No one's coming forward. Troy, is there anyone online?
Thank you, Commissioner. I have no online comment at this time.
Thank you, Troy. Moving on to item number 3, the consent agenda. Is there any discussion, or do we have time for, or will there be a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the requests in all items A through K of the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 And that motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to number 4, the regular agenda. The first item is a resolution requesting the Board of Education for Douglas County School District, RE1, to exercise discretion and decline to adopt Tri-County Health Department's public health order requiring face coverings for schools and child care settings. Commissioner Layden, would you like to read this one? Do you have it? If you'd like to talk, I'll pull it up for you.
I would just like to make a couple of comments, and then perhaps would ask County Council to provide a little insight from a legal perspective as to the basis for the correspondence.
Thank you, Commissioner. I assume the basis for the correspondence is a resolution. The resolution is from our Board of County Commissioners requesting that the Douglas County School District Board of Education exercise its discretion in not complying with the Tri-County Health Order regarding masks on school children. The reason it's worded that way as a request is because that is a separate governmental entity. Those are separately elected officials with independent discretion. And so this board can certainly request and suggest that they take certain action, but we don't have any direct authority over them. And so this is a request because Douglas County has opted out of the Tri-County Health Order. There is no order in Douglas County at all. And so any compliance with what would be the order is discretionary for every school district and school and entity that is otherwise under its auspices.
Thank you, Mr. Ingalls. I think the county attorney and the legal department provided some critical information that was very helpful for citizens and those listening in at our last hearing. And so I just wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to share that underlying basis. I do have that resolution before me and can go ahead and read that.
Thank you, Commissioner Lane. Please do.
This is a resolution requesting the Board of Education for Douglas County School District RE1 to exercise discretion and decline to adopt Tri-County Health Department's public health order requiring face coverings for schools and child care settings. Whereas on August 19th, 2021, after a lengthy public hearing, the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Douglas adopted resolution number R021-090, a resolution opting out of Tri-County Health Department's mandatory mask order for students aged 2 through 11. And whereas Tri-County Health Department's public health order requiring face coverings for schools and child care settings, TCHD public health order, provides that even if a county opts out of the TCHD public health order, individual school districts, schools, or child care facilities are not precluded from following or adopting the provisions of the TCHD public health order as their own policy or rule. And whereas the Board of Education for Douglas County School District RE1, DCSD, has stated that pursuant to DCSD policy, it must abide and adhere to all public health orders. And whereas in accordance with the board's legal interpretation of TCHD's public health order, the Board of Education for DCSD is not bound by the TCHD public health order in light of the Board of County Commissioners' election to opt out of the TCHD public health order. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby requests that the Board of Education for Douglas County School District RE1 exercise its discretion and formally resolve not to adopt Tri-County Health Department's public health order dated August 18th, 2021, requiring face coverings for schools and child care settings as its own policy or rule at the Board of Education's next public meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Lane. Do you have any comments, or what would you like to do?
You know, I do have just some additional comment. Certainly, we saw from both our hearing and on Tuesday a significant number of citizens, particularly parents, deeply concerned with ongoing mandates for their kids in the absence of credible scientific evidence. I think this board has been very clear in its support of those citizens and those parents and their right to choose what is best for the health of their kids. So I'm pleased to speak in support of this resolution.
Thank you, Commissioner Lane. Commissioner Teal.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to reserve my comments until after public comment, please.
Thank you. I will as well. I'll open public comment. Are there any citizens who would like to address the board on this resolution? Seeing no one in the hearing room come forward, Troy, is there anyone online?
I have no online comments.
Thank you. I will close public comment. Commissioner Teal.
Thank you, Chair. I am supportive of this resolution. I would also like to echo the note of appreciation expressed by Commissioner Layden to county legal staff on helping us out. I mean, I fully understand that we are a government entity and the school district is their own separate government entity. And they may adopt policies and we may adopt policies. And even though we do share the same electorate, we do share the same constituency, those policies do not always have to be in sync, in line, in total agreement. So I look at this resolution as an opportunity to communicate our thoughts and our values to the school board and express to them, or at least share with them what we have heard extensively over the last 2 weeks, that it is our shared constituency that does not wish to adhere to the public health order. We did take steps last week to nullify that public health order within Douglas County, Colorado, and do ask respectfully that our school board come across to share our views, listen to our shared constituency that we both serve, and join us in rejecting the precepts that we see outlined in the public health order from last week from Tri-County Health.
Thank you, Commissioner Teal. I will not be supporting this resolution because the school board knows that we opted out of the Tri-County Health order last week. They're well aware that we have opted out. I have spoken with both Superintendent Corey Wise and David Ray, the president of the school board. And I believe that having conversations with people is the better way to communicate both sides of the issue. So I have had those conversations. I am aware of their concerns and their position. I will not be supporting this resolution because I do not believe it is the role of one elected board to send a letter to another elected board to tell them what to do when it is not our lane. I also am interested that there was a poll that was published this morning that shows that parents are evenly split on mask mandates for in-person learning. 48% agree with mandatory mask orders, while 50% disagree. So the school board is responsible for all the kids in their schools, and I would like to give them the opportunity to do what they feel is best for their constituency. Anything else, Commissioner Layden or Commissioner Teal?
Well, I would just like to acknowledge and thank Commissioner Teal for his foresight in raising this issue at our last hearing. And I think each of us takes very seriously the onus of being elected at large and representing 380,000 citizens. When we speak, it is our interest, I believe, to represent well the voices of those 380,000, and that's a significant obligation that we take very seriously. We heard loud and clear, not only from the citizens here and from the protests that occurred on Tuesday, but also the poll that was conducted by Tri-County Health, that 65% of those who engaged in that poll did not want to see additional mask mandates for kids. So again, I think that it is important to respect our various lanes. And I have a good relationship and a good rapport with partner governments and other elected officials, and also am able to engage with Superintendent Wise and members of that board. But I think we have a special obligation as representatives of the people to share their views clearly and ensure that those views are heard. No doubt the school district is cognizant and aware of the resolution we passed, but I think this, coupled with the very clear legal information provided by counsel, I think makes it obvious both to the school board and our citizens that the obligation and the opportunity and the choice does not rest now with Tri-County Health. It really does rest with the school district. So I respectfully honor the lanes that we sit in and am in support of this resolution.
Do you have anything else, Commissioner Teal?
I do not share. Definitely in agreement with our colleague, Commissioner Layden. If it pleases the board, I'd like to offer a motion at this time.
Please.
Madam Chair, if it pleases the board, I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution requesting the Board of Education for Douglas County School District RE1 to exercise discretion and decline to adopt Tri-County Health Department's public health order requiring face coverings for schools and childcare settings.
Second, and I'd like to make one final comment.
Okay, thank you. There is a first and a second. Further comments?
So I want to be really clear with the public and certainly our partners in public health who might suggest that in any way what we did last week was a foregone conclusion and that expert opinion or data would not have made any difference in terms of our analysis. We have been looking at the data with the experts on Tri-County's own dashboard daily for 18 months. We requested credible data associated with severity for individuals under 12 from Tri-County Health. We did not receive that. Additional information that was sent to us by Tri-County Health was very specific about the fact that hospitals are dealing with respiratory virus. We know that RSV is an issue. We know that behavioral health is an issue, and that was also in the article that was sent to us. They also indicated that the Delta variant is contagious and transmissible to those that are unvaccinated. And finally, that article highlighted the fact that there is a shortage in healthcare workers. While all of those facts are true, they still do not speak to the issue of severity, particularly for kids under 12, which is the key data point that would be necessary for us in our purview to make a decision around mandates, at least in my perspective. So I wanted to be clear on that our decision was based on the data and it will continue to be based on the data. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lane. Commissioner Teal, did you have anything else you'd like to offer?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to speak in favor of the motion. Earlier today, of course, I don't know if this is all over the news. I've been trying to do the work to build good water relationships for us here at the Water Congress today. But it was communicated to me by a member of the Adams County Board of County Commissioners that they too voted to opt out. And I know that we heard people last week when we made the decision to opt out of this public health order, people, concerned that this is a political decision. That, of course, I'm sure it is well known, the three of us are Republicans, and this was a Republican versus Democrat issue. But I think we saw the action taken by the all Democrat Party member Adams County Board of County Commissioners earlier today shows that this really isn't a political issue. This really isn't a party issue. Yes, our Board of Health, they are following a certain charge, and I'm sure they're doing their jobs the best way they think they need to look after the public health of the Tri-County counties. But obviously, as county commissioners, we need to be responsive to the people, and we need to make sure that the people's voice is heard. So once again, I would just reiterate that I am speaking in favor of the motion, and my desire in passing this resolution is to communicate to our school board that, we do serve the same constituency, we do represent the same people, I would hope it would be taken as a respectful communication from us to them of the position that has been communicated to us by the people of Douglas County. I speak in favor of the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Teal. And I am still opposed to this. I believe that the school district well knows what we did last week. I've been in communication with them, and I think that we need to give them the grace to deal with this complicated issue on their own. I really support governance and the voice of the minority to make sure that that is also heard. With that, I will be calling for a vote. We have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 And those opposed say no. No. The resolution does carry on a 2-to-1 vote. Thank you. Moving on to item number B. This is an intergovernmental agreement with Jefferson and Arapahoe counties Sharon Svensson for staff. Sharon, you're online. Troy, can you see if she's muted?
Yes, Sharon, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Sorry, I thought I did. I apologize.
Sharon, please go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, so this is an intergovernmental agreement between Jefferson, Arapahoe, and Douglas counties. We have had this relationship with them for several years now, and basically we work together, the three counties work together to recruit, train, and retain foster parents in the child welfare system or in support of the child welfare system. So it's demonstrated itself to be a very beneficial relationship. We have, again, been able to really identify and train foster parents so that they're ready to take on children from the three counties. It also lets us share resources. So many of the children in one county are placed in another, and so it really is a nice way to leverage resources. So this would be an additional IGA. As I mentioned, we've been doing this for a few years, and so this IGA would allow us to continue that work.
Thank you, Sharon. Anybody have questions for staff?
I don't have any questions.
No, ma'am.
Sharon, I'd like to thank you for your work on this. A friend of mine was interested in adopting a child, actually being a foster parent, and we went to a meeting in Jefferson County, and I was very interested in how organized they were and how clear they were in what they were talking about. So thank you for everything you've done to represent these kids in our society that need some help.
Thank you.
I'll open this up for citizen comment. Are there any citizens who would like to address the board on this topic? Seeing no one in the hearing room coming forward, Troy, is there anyone online?
I have no online comments.
Thank you. I will close citizen comment, bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Jefferson and Arapahoe counties for the collaborative foster care program.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 And that motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to the final item on today's regular agenda. This is a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners to update the Douglas County Local Hazard Mitigation Plan. Tim Hallmark and just Tim Hallmark or Tim Johnson?
Tim Johnson,
Just Tim Johnson. Thank you, Tim. I apologize.
with the help of Lisa Gowdy. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to present on this plan, rather extensive plan. As the title says, this is an overview of our hazard mitigation, actual natural hazard mitigation plan. This is a very comprehensive plan that we work on every 5 years. We have a very concrete timeline that we have to deal with. This is a FEMA-approved plan that, according to, because of FEMA, is updated every 5 years. So it's very important that we continue to stay on that timeline. I want to just make a few comments about how this process kind of occurred over the last 18 months or so. We started talking about and planning and actually putting this plan into motion 18 months ago. Well, we kind of know what happened 18 months ago, and we were dealing with obviously the COVID pandemic, but it presented a lot of challenges. And I have to say the partners that we worked with, and certainly hats off to the facilities folks that helped us with this. It was quite an effort. Everything was done virtually with our consultant. And we worked very hard for over a year. Our deadline was March of 2021, and we really started this in earnest March of 2020. So we were kind of under the gun, so to speak, to meet that timeline, and I'm happy to say that we did meet it. We submitted this plan to the state of Colorado back in March of this year, which then allowed the state to review it and forward it on to FEMA. So next slide, Lisa, thank you. This plan allows all of us to get some pre-disaster mitigation funding, but it also allows us to get funding after a major event occurs. So it's a pretty important plan. One of the first things that FEMA asks when they come in after a very large wildfire or other catastrophic type of event is they want to see what kind of plans we have. They want to see if we have a natural hazard mitigation plan because it's very much a starting point for them in terms of opening up funding to help recovery occur in a county. Like I said, the plan is updated every 5 years. It goes through the state. They look at it very, very closely. They took because they're putting their stamp of approval on before it goes on to FEMA. Our consultant for this was Tetra Tech, and they did a great job. Again, this is very challenging doing all of this virtually because we hold quite a few meetings, which I'm going to mention here in just a little bit. Our partners, who are our partners and participating agencies? These are the folks that we worked with on this plan from around the county. Obviously, the different municipalities were a part of this. Denver Water, a big partner in the county, Parker Water and Sand, and Centennial Water. So we included all of those folks into this plan so that they could also get credit through FEMA for this plan in case they have major events that occur within their particular jurisdictions. Like I mentioned, extensive virtual participation occurred not only with our partners and our municipalities, but also with citizens. One of the big pieces of this plan is that we engage the citizens on this and get their input to this plan. We created a local planning committee, which included citizens, emergency management, our floodplain managers, to really kind of look at all the pieces that were going into this, give us comment on this. Very, very important. We actually get, depending on how that's documented and how much of that we do, we get credit from the state and from FEMA as the plan gets approved. We did 4 virtual developmental meetings with the local planning committee, 2 virtual public meetings where these were geared specifically to public comment. We did those in the evening. We did 2 of them so that citizens had plenty of time to take a look, analyze the plan. It's a very big plan. The plan's over 500 pages long. So we wanted to get, obviously, their comment on this. One of the things, the last bullet there, one of the things that we discovered out of this was the need to update our debris management plan. It's been a few years since we've taken a look at that plan, so we now have it on the schedule in emergency management to take a look at that in 2022. We have a wide variety of plans, and this highlighted the need for us to take a look at that, along with our County Wildfire Preparedness Plan, the CWPP, which I believe is already underway. So, next slide. So, with the plan come a series of projects. One of the requirements in this plan is that we as a county identify potential projects that we can work on over the next 5 years to mitigate and to help with our natural hazards. So we actually have, as a part of the plan, we have 24 identified projects. And it's quite the list. Like the very first one, our citizen disaster preparedness guides, that is something that we have done probably, well, as long as I've been in emergency management. We've had some kind of a guide around for at least 20 years. So that's a project that we put into this so we could get credit for it because it's a project that we value and it's a project that we want to continue. So we have several of those in here, but we have a lot of new projects that we put in. We consulted with county engineering, community development, the wildfire mitigation folks, both in my office and in community development to kind of put some of these together. You can see some of these. I don't necessarily want to read through all of them. There's 24 of them. But we have some pretty good ones. The debris management plan is included in here that we want to take a look at. Our evacuation plan that we updated a couple of years ago, we intend before the 5-year time period is over to update that plan as well. So there's a lot of different things in here. Preparedness seminars to HOAs. There's a lot of different things that go on. There's a wildfire mitigation project that we want to continue and look at in the Larkspur area. Let's see, let's go to the couple of slides down there, Lisa. Thank you. Oh, one back. So obviously, we're looking at drainages, culverts, a lot of stuff that was dealing with engineering and flood mitigation, those kinds of things. Those are all projects that are in here. These projects don't necessarily have to be completed in the 5-year timeframe, but we certainly want to take a good stab at that. Some of them will naturally be completed. The others that don't get completed will then be carried on to the next version of this plan. CWPP, as I pointed out, is in this as well. So, Commissioners, what you have before you is a resolution for the adoption of this plan. I want to thank, obviously, all of the folks that participated and helped out with this, including our partners. This was a big effort in a difficult time period, and I really appreciate everyone stepping up and really taking a very serious look at this and getting this completed on time, considering everything else that we were dealing with. So we're looking to adopt, if commissioners so desire, the Natural Hazard Mitigation Plan for 2021.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Questions?
So, Tim, I just want to thank you so much for the presentation, and thank you to all of staff for their engagement on this and the input of many. I believe during our work session, you shared with us the importance of relationships and trust. And so much of the success associated with the Office of Emergency Management is because of the relationships that you have built over many, many years. And that when there is an emergency, everyone in the region trusts you, trusts your office, and is willing to work nimbly and well to accomplish good things. So I just really want to thank you for the way in which you have conducted yourself and built those relationships over time. I think it's something that a lot of our citizens are not aware of, but certainly during the Chat Ridge 2 fire, we talked about, going over to Thunder Ridge, meeting with citizens that had been displaced, and being able to look at those smoke plumes dissipating and saying, you're going to be okay, and that's because of emergency management. So thank you.
That's right.
Commissioner Teal?
No questions, and I'll have comments on 3 points following the opportunity for the public comment, ma'am.
Thank you. So, Tim, you said that the package was over 500 pages. You were right. When I looked at my packet to read over the weekend, I saw 1,200 pages, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be here for 3 days. 946 pages are your plan. Inside all of that was a plan that was developed by Tetra Tech. Is that a consultant that you used to put this together?
That's correct.
So I'm just going to take a little side note and mention that one of the 11 people that we have assigned to our ad hoc committee to help us decide what to do with public health services meets tomorrow for the first time, works for Tetra Tech. So that gives you an idea of the high quality of the people that we put on our ad hoc committee. We had talked yesterday, Tim. In my previous life, when I worked for the Colorado State Patrol as a major at headquarters, I was responsible for managing the Emergency Operations Center for the state in regards to the State Patrol. And we talked about Tommy Greer, who had been responsible for that really big issue for the whole state of keeping that center open whenever it was needed. And I agree with you that it's the relationships that we build over time. So when something happens, we can pick up the phone and call somebody and get the resources that we need. And you and your team have demonstrated that you have built those relationships. So when something does happen, like the Chat Ridge fire, that you can reach out and get many resources very quickly to help us. So I'd like to thank you on behalf of all of our citizens for what you've done to help keep Douglas County safe.
Thank you, Commissioner.
With that, I'll open this up to citizen comment. Are there any citizens in the room who would like to address the board on this topic? Seeing no one come forward, Troy, is there anyone online?
I have no online comment.
Thank you. I'll be closing public comment. Commissioner Teal, you specifically said you had some comments afterwards. Would you like to go first?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'd like to speak on 3 points. Number one, in the 20 years prior to coming onto the board of county commissioners, I was in business. I was in the software industry, working largely as a project manager. And we had a phrase that we'd use with our clients and with our colleagues that was along the lines of, when you look at an aircraft cockpit, the two most important instruments, tools in that cockpit, number one, the most important is, of course, the crew, the pilot and the co-pilot. But the second most important thing in that cockpit is the checklist. And, there's not an airline that takes off and lands without two human beings there following that checklist rigorously. This plan, we say in the Army, your plan goes out the window with the first bullet fired. Well, but the bottom line is you have a plan. You have a place to start. And obviously, when we do have a natural disaster here in the county, it will feel like the checklist has to get thrown out and you become very reactive. But having that plan in place is extremely important beyond the reasons that Tim had talked about. So hats off to you, Tim and Diane, and thank you very much for that work. My second point that I was hoping to bring out has to do with how Tim pointed out that this plan is also a basis for the municipalities here in the county. And having also served 6.5 years in municipal office here in the county and serving on the Castle Rock Public Safety Commission for several years, I can assure you that having the county having its act together is a very good start for our municipalities. So it's a service that we are doing for them in their efforts to deal with natural disasters and natural hazards in their environment. And then lastly, Tim, I couldn't help but notice one of your top areas of planning is in terms of disaster preparedness and outreach and pushing that out. Every scout in America that wishes to become an Eagle Scout actually has to have a merit badge dealing with disaster preparedness. And so, Tim, if you'd like to have a hand with that outreach program, I'd be happy to be a go-between with the county and the scout organizations that are here in the county to kind of help push those out. Because I'll tell you, I didn't have a fire evacuation plan for my home until my son came home from a Boy Scout meeting and demanded that we plan one. So I think that'd be a great way to go. And Tim, if you need a hand making those connections, I'd love to help out. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. If there are any other further comments once they are completed, I'm happy to make a motion.
Commissioner Layden.
I have no comments.
And I have no comments either, so a motion would be accepted. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if it pleases the board, I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Douglas County, Colorado, to update the Douglas County Local Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Second.
There's a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 And that motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for your efforts.
Thank you.
The county manager Doug DeBoard has got an excellent report in the packet. If you're interested in what's going on in Douglas County, that's a great thing to read. Do you have anything else, Mr. DeBoard? Any comments from commissioners?
I have none.
Just one, Madam Chair. Already a busy morning and actually, ironically, a very busy lunch hour here at the Colorado Water Congress. Had a wonderful chance to sit down with a couple of the water managers we have here in Douglas County that are up here. They, of course, are working on several committees. They're going to be doing statewide work while they're up there. This is my first time attending the Colorado Water Congress, so I hope to be able to keep up as much as possible as our great water professionals here in Douglas County do great work preparing for the water future of Douglas County.
Thank you, Commissioner Teal. There were three things that I highlighted from the county manager's report. I'm going to choose to speak about the county fair, which was an absolute success. This is the first year that Tim Hallmark's back there grinning. Tim, you and your staff did a great job on the fair, so thank you so much. The Extreme Bulls and all three of the rodeos sold out. The junior livestock sale raised $606,000, which is an absolute record. I think one time they got almost $500,000. So huge record this time. The carnival sales, there were $25,000 in profit back to the county. and really important, the community really joined us. There were $164,000 in sponsorships. When you add the in-kind, it totaled over $200,000 that the community provided to help our fair be really good. And the reason we support that so much is because of our 4-H kids and the kids. So thank you so much for everybody who participated in the fair. This is the end of today's business meeting. The next business meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 14th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Today's meeting is adjourned. Thank you.